Most people think Caitlin Clark's biggest challenge in the WNBA is proving her skills to the league. But what if I told you that her toughest battles are actually off the court? Despite admiration from NBA legends like Stephen Curry and LeBron James, Caitlin faces resistance and envy from within the WNBA itself. But here's the twist. Larry Bird, one of the greatest players in history, just broke his silence with advice that could not only silence her critics, but change her entire career path. Stick around to see how Bird's words could transform everything for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's journey to basketball stardom didn't happen overnight. From her high school days in Indiana to her record-breaking performances in college, she's been building her reputation step by step. But this isn't just another athlete making waves. Clark's rise feels more revolutionary, almost disruptive in the world of basketball. Her playing style, which combines deadly shooting range with an intense competitive spirit, has drawn attention from some of the biggest names in the sport. Yet there's an undeniable split between how the NBA views her versus the WNBA's reaction. From the NBA side, the admiration came early. Stephen Curry, who redefined the way basketball is played with his deep-range shooting, was one of the first to speak up about Clark's talent. For Curry, Clark wasn't just another shooter. She was someone who played with a confidence and flair that mirrored his own approach to the game.
Her range, her three-point shooting overall, her flair for testing her range every night and knowing that the other team's going to try to take it away. And she's fearless. No shot is a bad shot, and when you can shoot it as well as she can.
He noted that watching her was like seeing a reflection of his younger self. Her ability to take long-range shots effortlessly in clutch moments felt reminiscent of his own rise in the NBA. In an interview, Curry expressed his admiration, explaining how Clark's shooting often steals the spotlight, but that her real talent goes much deeper.
Unseen, once she crosses half court, she's within her range. It's always a threat. Biggest thing is how she balances that and her playmaking ability to get everybody else involved.
Curry saw something that many might overlook: Clark's court vision, her instinctive playmaking, and her ability to elevate the entire team. According to Curry, Clark isn't just a shooter. She's a complete player with a skill set that challenges traditional views of women's basketball. He's watched her control the pace of the game, make sharp passes, and keep a level head even in the tensest situations. Therefore, Curry wasn't just giving her a compliment. He was sending a message that Caitlin Clark was a player who could reshape the game, much like he did.
The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison to the way that I play.
I was going to say Caitlin Clark's been compared to you.
Yeah, but I think it almost robs her of like the rest of her game because she's such a good floor, she has her overall, floor game. She's racking up, close to triple doubles every night, and
right.
Her shooting ability is, it's her superpower.
But Curry's endorsement was only the beginning. Just as the basketball world was coming to terms with Curry's praise for Clark, another powerhouse stepped in: LeBron James. Known for his own ability to carry teams on his back, James recognized something special in Clark during her explosive performances in the NCAA tournament. LeBron has seen plenty of young players come and go, but there was something about Clark's poise, her fearlessness, that caught his attention.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. Don't get it twisted. Don't get up. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
After watching her lead her team in high-stakes moments, he couldn't help but draw comparisons to his own early days in the NBA.
LeBron, Ron, or even King James. Whatever you call the McDonald Boys Player of the Year, call him a winner.
You've seen him dominate so many times. Can he dominate against players this good?
Well, I think he can because he's so skilled and he's so physically advanced at this stage of his development.
Chris Paul to LeBron James. That didn't take very long. You came in here to watch the game. Would you walk out saying he was clearly the best player on the floor tonight?
Oh, without question. think he is, without being disrespectful to the other players, he's a man among boys.
Now, a lot of these other high school players that have gone from high school to the NBA have taken a couple of seasons to get adjusted, even Kobe Bryant. Are you ready to contribute right away in the NBA?
I think so.
LeBron is no stranger to the pressures of being a young star with the weight of a team on his shoulders. And in Clark, he saw a reflection of that journey. LeBron didn't just praise her for her skill. He pointed out that Clark's presence would bring a lot of great things to the WNBA, elevating the league's profile. But he also offered her some personal advice. Stay focused on the game and don't let the noise distract you.
But I'm rooting for Caitlin because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before. There's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is, and I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulder.
For LeBron, Clark isn't merely a talented player. She represents a force capable of changing the narrative around women's basketball. He knows how media pressure can become a distraction, so his advice to Clark was simple. Ignore the noise and keep pushing.
My advice to Caitlin, and my advice to anyone that comes in with this, this level of notoriety, out of this world expectation, whatever the case may be, I just think it's all about having, be a horse, man. The Kentucky Derby, put your blinders on, go to work, show up to work, punch your clock in, prepare yourself, work on your game, work on your craft, kind of keep your mouth shut, and just learn from the vets. When they ask, you voice your opinion if they want your opinion, man, early on, because everybody is looking for you to say anything and they're gonna splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane.
Yet the response from the WNBA side was far more complicated. Unlike the NBA legends, who seemed to welcome her with open arms, Clark's presence stirred a mix of reactions among WNBA players and fans. Instead of receiving universal praise, Clark's arrival sparked feelings that ranged from admiration to envy. For some, her rise felt too fast, too sudden, as though she was encroaching on a league with its own established stars and dynamics. The division was clear. While NBA stars rallied around her, Clark's welcome in the WNBA was met with a mix of praise and reservation. But why this divide? Some suggest it's Clark's style of play. Her approach, bold, confident, and unapologetically competitive, aligns more closely with the NBA's intense, fast-paced game than the traditional style seen in the WNBA. Her swagger on the court, her ability to hit deep shots, and her knack for taking control in high-pressure moments make her feel like a disruptor. However, it's exactly this quality that drew the attention of another basketball legend who knew what it was like to break boundaries. Caitlin Clark hails from Indiana, the heartland of basketball. Growing up surrounded by the game, her style and competitive edge were forged in the intense basketball culture of the Midwest. This connection to Indiana brought inevitable comparisons to Larry Bird, one of basketball's most revered figures. Bird, like Clark, wasn't just a skilled player. He was a phenomenon. His work ethic, his no-nonsense approach, and his fierce competitiveness made him a household name. And when Clark began breaking records and turning heads with her relentless drive, fans couldn't help but draw parallels to Bird's legendary career. But it wasn't just fans who noticed. Magic Johnson, Bird's longtime rival, weighed in on the conversation. Johnson saw Clark's brewing rivalry with Angel Reese and couldn't help but be reminded of his own storied battles with Bird in the 1980s. For Magic, rivalries weren't just about competition, they were about elevating the sport. His rivalry with Bird had brought unprecedented attention to the NBA, drawing fans and media interest that transformed the league. Johnson believed Clark and Reese had the potential to do the same for the WNBA. But in his typical fashion, Magic also offered a reminder. Popularity doesn't make a player the best.
They're going to be tested
by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlin still has to play great to become the best WNBA player.
According to Magic, Clark still has to prove herself, just as he and Bird had to in their early careers. He explained that while Clark is the most popular player right now, popularity alone isn't enough. She'll need to continue honing her skills and prove game after game that she belongs among the best. It wasn't a critique as much as a challenge, a reminder that the path to greatness is long and requires constant growth. Magic's words were both a compliment and a reality check, highlighting the journey that Clark still has ahead of her. And then, after weeks of speculation, Larry Bird finally broke his silence. Bird, known for his quiet demeanor and private life, had watched from the sidelines as Clark's story unfolded. But now he felt it was time to offer his perspective. Bird, who had faced his own share of critics throughout his career, had a message that resonated with anyone who's been under the spotlight. Focus on your game, not the noise around you. In his statement, Bird reminded Clark that the critics will always be there, ready to tear down what they don't understand. But he assured her that in the long run, those voices don't matter. What you're doing now will be remembered forever, Bird said. The people tearing you down, they'll fade away. For Bird, this wasn't just advice for a young player. It was a life lesson. He knew firsthand that greatness often comes with criticism, but true legends stay focused on what really matters, their love for the game. Bird's advice carried the weight of experience. He understood that while Clark's popularity and talent have brought her fame, the pressure and scrutiny could easily become distractions. By telling her to ignore the critics, Bird was offering her a path to keep growing without being weighed down by outside opinions. He wanted her to see that the real legacy isn't built on public approval, but on staying true to the passion that brought her here in the first place. So here we are, watching Caitlin Clark at the center of a unique moment in sports history. With NBA legends like Stephen Curry and LeBron James backing her up, and icons like Magic Johnson seeing her rivalry as a way to elevate the sport, Clark finds herself in a position few athletes ever reach. And at the heart of it all, Larry Bird's words stand as both support and a challenge. He's given her the wisdom to withstand the critics, but also the push to keep pushing forward, proving herself in every game. And yet, as we wrap up, the real story isn't over. It's just beginning. With legends watching her every move, the question remains, will Caitlin Clark rise to the occasion, leaving a mark that redefines the WNBA? Or is there more to prove before she can truly stand alongside the greats? The only thing certain is that we're witnessing the start of something extraordinary. And with every game, every rivalry, every record she breaks, Clark is shaping a legacy that could forever change the landscape of basketball. But for now, as Larry Bird advised, she'll keep her head down, tune out the critics, and let her game do the talking.
Thanks for coming our way. It just elevates this event in so many ways, and what Caitlin has done, not just in on the court, but just in general for women and girls in sport, and such an inspiration and motivation. So, I really look forward to seeing your game tomorrow.
If you're a basketball player but just a recreational golfer, like Caitlin is, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespects the LPGA golfers by thinking she can go into this tournament and do anything.
I honestly just got so triggered by Caitlin Clark's golf debut, and it is no fault of hers that I got upset. It is the fault of the WNBA, because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
Caitlin Clark shocks the golf world by beating LPGA stars at Annika Pro-Am. Most people think basketball stars like Caitlin Clark dominate only on the court, leaving other sports to the professionals. But what if I told you that belief is completely wrong? Caitlin Clark just stepped onto the golf course and didn't just hold her own. She beat some of the best in the game. And if you think this was just beginner's luck, wait until you hear how she did it and why it's changing everything we know about crossover athletes. Caitlin Clark is no stranger to the spotlight. From breaking scoring records in the WNBA to redefining what it means to be a rookie phenom, she's become a household name in sports. But no one expected her to take her competitive spirit to the golf course. The stage was set at the prestigious Annika Pro-Am at Pelican Golf Club. Clark was invited to play alongside LPGA icons like world #1 Nelly Korda and Hall of Famer Annika Sorenstam. Fans flocked to the event, with ticket sales skyrocketing 12-fold compared to the previous year. Clark's participation wasn't just a headline, it was a phenomenon. Initially, Clark played down her abilities, jokingly referring to herself as just an average golfer. But behind the humor, there was a glimmer of her trademark confidence. Little did anyone know this self-proclaimed underdog was about to take the event by storm. On the par 3 12th hole, Clark delivered the shot of the day. A 6-foot putt for birdie had the crowd erupting in cheers. It wasn't just a great moment. It was a moment that set the tone for the rest of her round. Even seasoned golfers in the gallery were impressed. One spectator was overheard saying, "She's got the focus of a pro. You'd never know she's a basketball player first." As the day unfolded, Clark's consistency on the course became impossible to ignore. Despite a rocky start, where she hilariously admitted nearly hitting fans with her first tee shot, she quickly found her rhythm. Her drives were steady, her short game was on point, and her ability to handle pressure was unmatched. By the end of the round, Clark's score wasn't just competitive, it placed her ahead of several LPGA veterans, including players with major championship wins. The underdog narrative had flipped. She wasn't just participating, she was winning. Beyond her performance, Clark's charisma stole the show. Fans lined up for autographs, cheered her every shot, and followed her group hole by hole. Her presence brought a unique energy to the event, turning a typically reserved Pro-Am into a spectacle. After the round, Nelly Korda couldn't hold back her admiration. She played incredibly well today. For someone who claims to be an average golfer, she certainly showed us all what she's capable of. Even Annika Sorenstam, a legend in her own right, was impressed. She's a natural competitor. You can see it in how she approaches every shot. It's exciting to see an athlete like her bring this level of energy to the sport. Clark's participation wasn't just a win for her. It was a win for women's sports. Her ability to draw massive crowds and media attention highlighted the crossover appeal of athletes who excel in multiple disciplines. LPGA Commissioner Molly Marcoux-Samaan summed it up best. The energy out here was terrific. Caitlin brought something special to this event, and it's clear she has the ability to inspire fans across all sports. While Clark has no plans to leave basketball anytime soon, her success on the golf course has sparked widespread speculation. Could she pursue a dual-sport career? Will she return to the Pro-Am circuit in the future? Fans are already clamoring for more. Caitlin Clark's incredible performance at the Annika Pro-Am has left us all asking one question. Is this just the beginning of her story in golf? While she remains committed to dominating the WNBA, her unexpected success on the green has opened doors and imaginations worldwide. Could Caitlin Clark be the next great crossover athlete, redefining what it means to excel at the highest levels in multiple sports? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Wherever Clark goes, history follows. Stay tuned, because Caitlin Clark's journey is far from over. Everyone thought Tiger Woods was exaggerating when he compared Caitlin Clark to himself. She's a basketball player, they said. What does she know about golf? But what if Tiger was right all along? What if Caitlin Clark isn't just destined to dominate basketball, but is on the verge of becoming a golf prodigy too? And if you're skeptical, wait until you hear what Tiger saw in Caitlin that no one else did, and why the sports world is finally starting to listen. It all started with a simple yet profound statement from Tiger Woods during an interview earlier this year. While discussing the future of sports and its next wave of transformative athletes, Woods made a bold prediction. Caitlin Clark has what it takes to be a game changer, not just in basketball, but in golf as well. Caitlin has the same fire and determination that I had when I first started, Woods said. Her competitive spirit is unmatched, and that's what separates good athletes from the truly great ones. If she keeps working on her game, she could take golf by storm. At the time, most dismissed this as an offhand remark, After all, Clark was known for her record-breaking performances in the WNBA, not for her skills on the green. But Tiger's words lingered, especially for those who've seen Caitlin play golf firsthand. Tiger Woods revolutionized golf by making it younger, faster, and more diverse. His success brought in new fans, changed the commercial appeal of the game, and inspired a generation. Caitlin Clark is doing the same for women's basketball. Her flashy style of play, deep three-pointers, and fiery competitiveness have drawn unprecedented attention to the WNBA. WNBA CMO Phil Cook even stated, "Clark is poised to influence the WNBA in ways similar to how Tiger changed golf." Both athletes are disruptors, unafraid to challenge the status quo and redefine what's possible in their respective sports. When Caitlin Clark participated in the Annika Pro-Am event earlier this year, she wasn't just a celebrity guest. She held her own against some of the biggest names in golf, including Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam. Clark's long drives were powerful, her short game showed finesse, and her competitive instincts were on full display. Fans were blown away, not just because a basketball player was excelling in golf, but because she genuinely looked like she belonged there. Woods, reflecting on her performance, pointed out, "Golf is all about focus and mental toughness. Caitlin has both in abundance. That's why she can thrive under pressure, whether it's making a clutch shot on the court or sinking a long putt." One of Tiger's greatest impacts on golf was his ability to draw massive crowds wherever he played. Caitlin Clark is having a similar effect. Her presence at the Annika Pro-Am reportedly increased ticket sales 12-fold, turning a relatively quiet event into a spectacle. Fans lined up for autographs, followed her group hole by hole, and cheered every shot she took. Annika Sorenstam commented, "It's been a long time since I've seen this kind of energy at a Pro-Am." Caitlin brings a unique excitement to the game, much like Tiger did in his prime. Tiger's faith in Caitlin Clark isn't just about what she's achieved so far, it's about what's possible. As Clark continues to excel in the WNBA, she's also carving out a space for herself in golf. She's not committing to one over the other yet, but her success at high-profile golf events has sparked serious conversations. Could she become one of the rare athletes to dominate two sports at the professional level? The comparisons to Tiger Woods have only fueled the speculation. Both started young, both had a magnetic effect on fans, and both were doubted before they proved their doubters wrong. Nelly Korda. It's rare to see someone who's so naturally talented and competitive in two sports. Caitlin has a gift, and it's going to be exciting to see how far she can take it. LPGA Commissioner Molly Marcoux. Saman. Caitlin's presence is inspiring for women's golf. She's showing that it's possible to excel in multiple arenas, and that's a message we need more of in sports today. Will Caitlin Clark follow in Tiger's footsteps and change the landscape of golf while dominating basketball? Or is this just a glimpse of her potential, waiting to be fully unleashed? Tiger Woods saw something in Caitlin Clark that no one else did. A spark, a fire, a rare kind of greatness. And now the world is starting to see it too. But the question remains, can she truly live up to Tiger's vision and become the next great crossover athlete? With every basket she scores and every putt she sinks, Caitlin Clark inches closer to proving that Tiger Woods wasn't just right, he was prophetic. Stay tuned, because Caitlin Clark's story is only getting started.